Welcome, everybody. It's our pleasure today to address our attendees and share some of our thoughts about informed consent in the digital era. I'm very pleased to introduce to you Dr. Jane Thomason and Dr. Kenneth Gutman, who are joining us today. And I'm sure you'll be delighted to hear some of their insights and expertise about this very important topic. To the last topic that I wanted us to maybe touch on, because I think it's very relevant, and I've seen a lot of questions in the media and many people even privately that ask what we would advise them with the vaccines that are being developed for COVID-19, but any other vaccines in the future, given that we're in an exponentially dynamic, hyper-connected environment where obviously new technologies emerge every day and new methods of developing vaccines or medications to treat various diseases emerge much more rapidly. Sometimes we notice that the traditional ways to obtain informed consent and to safeguard some of those foundational principles are being overstepped or blurred, or people sign on their own that they're willing to waive them all. What advice would each one of you have to members of society, how they can balance the challenge between being fearful for their life and wanting a vaccine and then still making sure that their rights are not being violated? I know it's a tough one, but I think it's important to address because many people are wondering. Dr. Gutman, maybe you go first.
So one of the things that we've learned in similar contexts is it's important to make a distinction among risks, harms, and wrongs. That's why valid consent is so powerful. If I agree, and I'm not being exploited, and I know what I'm getting into, and I'm able to make a good decision to run a risk, then if the risk actually occurs, if I'm actually injured, for example, then I have been harmed, but I have not been wronged. And a lot of research relies on that distinction. What we've seen in the context of COVID and other circumstances as well is the willingness of some of our compatriots, and by which I mean global compatriots, say, I'm willing to take a chance. We call them altruists. They may be biomedical altruists, they may be virtual altruists. They're willing to say, I'm prepared to run a risk in exchange for no benefit whatsoever. And I believe we should take them at their word. I also think we need to make sure that my greatest fear is that every new technology, every new benefit, every new vaccine is one that we're not going to share the way we're supposed to. So if your community has done a great job ensuring that scientists and not politicians control the process, well, that's one good thing. If in fact you follow the rules for valid consent and not financial expedience, that's another one. And if 3, you are transparent and people know who's responsible, then you have fired on all the cylinders that I think that we should require be fired on. Except that once the vaccine is available, we need to make sure we do not repeat or worsen all the disparities that we've been talking about so far today.
Absolutely.
I think that's such an excellent response. I have nothing to add to that. Thank you.
Well, I hope. Go ahead.
I was going to say that the beauty of what I think we do is it's writing code is sometimes a lot harder than figuring out what values we ought to bring to these discussions. I'm a universalist. I'm a moral universalist. I believe that what's going to be right or wrong in Australia is going to be right or wrong in Algeria, in America, in Azerbaijan, to alliterate on A's there, and that's the human condition. That no one gets to say, well, in my part of the world, we've always exploited vulnerable people. That just defines us as a people. How dare you criticize me? I think there's certain values that are universal. When we discover them and when we're better able to serve them, including share better, then I think that our jobs and the opportunity for digital science and security are going to be lensed all the more in ways that are good and wholesome and productive.
Thank you so much. I hope the audience found this discussion insightful and it shed some light on some of the challenges we deal with ethically. And we invite everybody to attend our next session, which will be on data governance. So another important one. Thank you so much, Dr. Goodman. Thank you, Dr. Thomason.